Hermes colors, Hermes, Hermes, Hermes. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be all about Hermes colors explained. Okay, so what I mean by that is the Hermes color system, how it actually works with permanent colors and seasonal colors, because this is something that people tend to not really understand when they are new to shopping at Hermes. There is some complexity to it, but hopefully this video helps to clear the air. But with my tips as well, or my explanation, it'll actually give you some tips on how to score an Hermes bag from your boutique, because it does coincide with understanding about Hermes colors. So before I get into today's video, if you aren't already subscribed and you do love luxury videos, all about fashion, all about Hermes, all about all the luxury brands, then I would appreciate if you hit that subscribe button below and also the bell so you can be notified when I upload new videos, which is twice a week on a Wednesday and on a weekend. Now, jumping into today's video, I'm going to start off with the actual colors that are permanent to Hermes. So I've got some kind of eye candy here because I don't necessarily own all the Hermes colors in bags, Hermes permanent colors in bags. I would love to, maybe one day. So we'll start off with Etoupe. So Etoupe, this is the color here. This is on Togo leather. This is my Birkin 30, and Etoupe is a permanent color to Hermes. Now, what I mean by permanent is that this color and the other permanent colors that I'll mention are available all year round. They're not seasonal. They're not based on fall, winter, autumn, winter, or spring, summer. They're not based on resort collection. They are literally available all year round. Obviously, we're using the word available quite loosely because we know that Hermes bags, the elusive ones, Birkin, Kelly, Constance, are not readily available to most people. They're just not readily available actually in general. I think it's hard for anyone to sort of go, I want exactly that and get it on the day. So Etoupe being the first permanent Hermes color that they have. The next one is the color gold. So I have my gold Oran sandals, and these are in the color gold. Gold is probably the most popular Hermes color that there is. I would say that it's probably slightly more popular than Etoupe. Everyone seems to love gold. It wasn't always that way. I feel like Etoupe was more popular than gold, but in the past couple, maybe 3 years, gold just seems to have surpassed Etoupe in popularity. So gold is a permanent color to Hermes. So the great thing is that if you love the color gold, it's available all year round. As to whether it being easily accessible as a bag is a whole different story. I find that it's probably one of the hardest colors to get because everyone loves it and everyone wants it. So yeah, it's harder to get. And the final permanent color to Hermes is actually Noir, so black. The color black. These are my Oasis sandals. Yeah, the color black. I mean, it's a color, right? It's black, but it's still a color. And this is permanent to Hermes, so you can get this all year round. So three colors, Etoupe, Noir, and gold are permanent colors for the Hermes lineup. So all year round, these colors are being produced, they are being made by the artisans, and you will see them pop up in bags, you know, Picotins, Evelynes, everything like that. You'll see them pop up in that, and obviously being made in Birkin, Kelly, Constance, but as we know, not so easily readily available to just buy whenever. Now, so that is the permanent colors. So there's only three. I know that some people might be thinking, oh, I think that there's some other colors that are permanent. Well, conclusively, there is not, as far as I'm aware. Those are the three permanent colors. However, there are some colors from Hermes that are extremely popular and tend to appear as though they are permanent. So they look as though they're available all year round. They don't get announced with seasonal releases. So we'll get into that a little bit later. But these colors I'm going to mention to you do not get announced with seasonal runs. They just tend to keep getting produced here and there Perhaps it's due to the fact that because they are so extremely popular, they're consistently getting made with special orders. People are requesting these combos with their special orders, so that's why perhaps it's always getting run, or because these colors, you know, perhaps have been around for a while now, or a couple of them have been around for a while now. You know, the artisans are having to do repairs on them, that sort of thing, so the leather needs to be readily available. Perhaps, I'm not 100% sure, but this is kind of what I theorize could be the possibility as to why they always sort of just appear, and people might think they're permanents, but they're not. So the colors that I'm actually referring to that are not permanent colors, but they tend to just be appearing in bags, just out of the blue, out of nowhere, but a lot more regularly than other colors in Hermes, is Etan. So Etan is a tin grey. That's what Etan means. It's a tin grey. I describe it as like a deep elephant grey. So you would think Etan's a permanent, but it's technically not declared as such unless something has changed. But as far as I know, it is not specifically, it's not a permanent, but it just seems to appear. And the other one is Cray. Cray tends to appear quite regularly as well. So you would think that Cray is a permanent, but it's not. And the color Cray, I believe, means chalk, if I'm not mistaken. So that tends to appear quite regularly. You see it in bags, you see it in combinations of special orders. So yeah, Etan and Cray just tend to appear. I know, again, we're not using the word regularly as though it's literal, because we know with Hermes, nothing is actually like a regular thing. You can't just go to walk into the boutique and go, I want a Birkin in Cray, I want a Kelly in Etan. It's not like that. We know it's not like that. So the words that I'm using to describe, obviously, do not take them as their actual literal meaning. But what I'm coming down to the fact is that you will see Cray and Etan pop up in the boutique. You could request the color and you might get it, even though it's not specifically permanent and it hasn't been specifically specified that it's a seasonal color. It's just one of those, it's just those two colors tend to pop up quite regularly. There is a couple other colors that I am noticing are now kind of just popping up, even though they're not being declared as being run in the season, and that's Rose Azalee. Rose Azalee, I think, was introduced back in 2017, in spring, summer 2017. It was the first time it ever came about, and it just had a long run, and then it went into like a few seasons where they continued to produce it, but then they officially declared that they weren't producing it in their seasonal runs, but it still continued on. There's still a lot of Rose Azalee bags that pop up with current year stamps, which I think is why, if I'm not mistaken, they're popping up in the current year stamps. They're popping up even last year, so Rose Azalee is still getting made. Also, the other one is Gris Asphalte. Gris Asphalte came about in 2018. It might have been for winter 2018 that it came about, and since then it did have a long run. Again, it was on the actual seasonal color chart that it was going to be continued on for a further 3 seasons after it got introduced, but now I'm still seeing it again in 2020. Gris Asphalte seems to have taken on the same sort of thing as Rose Azalee has. And then the other one is Rose Poupre. Rose Poupre, I'm kind of not sure if it's still going to be one of the colors that they're still seems to just be being continued on. I have seen Rose Poupre still produced in last year's bags and then 2019. However, Rose Poupre, I think, came out in it came out with Gris Asphalte as well. I think it might have come in spring summer 2018. I think Rose Poupre came before Gris Asphalte, spring summer 2018, and then the autumn winter 2018 was Gris Asphalte. So I have seen Rose Poupre continue to run, and it was again on the actual color chart as continuing on, but then it was taken off the actual color chart for seasonal for the additional further seasons since it was introduced, but it has still been produced. But I'm not sure if it is still going to be a case for this year. Even Gris Asphalte might actually dwindle off and not be produced perhaps this year, or you may not see it pop up as regularly. It may be a very rare occasion that it pops up. But definitely with Cray and Etan and Rose Azalee, those are the 3 colors that you will start to think are permanent, but they actually are not. They just keep popping up. So we've got our permanent colors, like I explained, and then we've got our colors that are not technically permanent but have the tendency to appear as though they are permanent colors. But then we also have, there are some colors that do just pop up out of the blue, and they can be absolutely anything. And they would be obviously colors from the Hermes archives, but I theorize that the reason that those colors will just pop up out of the blue is to do with repairs and maybe special orders. Maybe if someone's been able to do a special order before they changed the system, because the special order system before was that you could order any color that you wanted. Now they actually restrict you down to specific colors that are going to be available for that special order season, and they always are colors that are either permanent and colors that are within a spectrum of seasonal colors. So generally I think it is about maybe 2 or 3 seasons, up to 2 or 3 seasons back, they may still produce, it may still be on the special order chart, but it does change every special order system. I've never been lucky enough to be able to do a special order, unfortunately. There are some colors that will sort of just pop up out of the blue, and they're just going to pop up out of the blue. I can't even say which ones they are because they literally will just pop up out of the blue. And it could be colors even like, it could be color like Beton. Beton would just pop up out of the blue. Or Blue Electric, just come up out of the blue. And that doesn't mean that you're going to be able to say to your sales associate, oh, I want a Beton bag, I want a Blue Electric bag, I want a Bamboo bag, or I want a jaune amber, I want a soufre bag. You can't say that these are the colors that you want, because they will potentially just pop up out of nowhere, but there's pretty much no point in sort of requesting them because the odds are extremely low of those kind of popping up out of nowhere. Now, hopefully that made a little bit of sense. I know that it is a little bit confusing, I do know that, but the next part is actually what is just as important as understanding permanent colors is. And the next part is seasonal colors. Seasonal colors are the colors that Hermes announces that they are going to be running for that season or that upcoming season. So at the moment, we are now in spring summer 2020 colors. What are the actual colors for spring summer 2020 this year? So you can know what colors to pretty much so you can know what colors to request. And we'll talk a little bit about that later on as well. So for spring summer 2020, the colors that they are bringing in color NATA. NATA looks a bit like cray, but to me when I look at it, it looks a little bit more like it's got a bit of a pinky undertone or like a beigey sort of undertone, whereas cray has more of like a yellowy chalky undertone. So I think NATA is a little bit more on that beigey pink undertone side. And then there is the color FOIN. I don't know how to describe it. The color Sesame, it looks like it's got a little bit of like a touch of Tobacco Camel. Tobacco Camel is a color that Hermes produced quite a while ago. So it looks a little bit similar to that, but we're still in the warm, like that beigey warm kind of family between FOIN and Sesame. And then there is Bronze DORE, however you say it. And that looks like a bronzy brown. The next one is Curry, and Curry is a orangey, warm, kind of autumn, I wouldn't say autumn leaves, but it looks similar to jaune amber. So jaune amber is like a mustardy kind of yellow. Curry kind of has that mustardy, yellowy kind of look to it. The next color is VERT CRIQUET, and that looks like a light green cricket. That's probably the best way to describe it. The other one is BLEU. So BLEU in photos, it can look very different. I have seen it look like a very, very pale icy blue, but then I have seen it look like it even pulls like purple. So to me, I interpret it as it's going to be a very icy blue, but not a blue gray like Blue Glacier. It is going to look like a light baby blue with gray, some gray and purpley undertones, so that way it doesn't look like a pop blue. The other one is Navy. Navy is literal, again, it's just a very dark blue, navy blue. The other one is VERT Macus, butchering it, I know, and this to me looks like a very dark green with grey undertones. So it looks kind of like it will be similar to Etan, but with more green in it. That's how I feel that this color looks like, which I think is a really nice color. And the other one is TERRE BATTUE. I know I butchered it. I didn't bother Googling how to pronounce this. I ain't got time for that. You know, I'm just going to put the French spelling on the screen and that'll be enough. And that color looks like a corally orange, kind of like a terracotta. So those are, as far as I know, they are new to Hermes. I'm not sure if there's anything in there that's already been produced before. The only one I'm thinking that could be have been produced before, maybe curry. But Hermes does have some colors that are coming back for spring summer 2020 and that were already in the Hermes archives, and that's lime. So the color lime looks like a yellowy lime color. And then the other one is bamboo. So the color bamboo is a bright bamboo sort of green. It's like the brighter pop version of VERT Vertigo, if you're familiar with VERT Vertigo. So yeah, bamboo and lime have come back for this season of spring summer 2020. Okay, so now on to the actual part where I'm going to explain to you how you can use this information to your advantage when it comes to requesting bags from the boutique. So let's say, you know, you've developed a profile at Hermes and you're ready to request a bag, or the sales associate wants you to request a bag. My strongest advice to you, and I've said this to other people as well that have wanted a bit of an explanation on how it sort of works, is you really should familiarize yourself with what are the seasonal colors upcoming or currently in production, and what are the permanent colors. Because if you just go ahead and just request any color that you think you like from Hermes. So let's just say, oh, I like the color blue lin. I want a blue lin bag. If it's not in production, it's not being made, you've got very low chances of getting it. The only way you might get it is if it popped up and the sales associate remembered you, or it popped up and actually went to that boutique. Because just because one of these colors might pop up doesn't mean it even ends up in your boutique, because it's not technically being run as the seasonal color and it's not a permanent color. Another example is the color cray. So the color cray is one of those ones that you might think is permanent, but because technically it's not being made as much as the colors Etoupe, gold, noir, and the seasonal colors. So cray is one of those colors where if you do request it, there is a chance, a better chance than say if you requested blue lin, there is a chance that you might be able to get it, but you're not putting the cards, you're not decking the cards in your favor by asking for a color that is not specifically a seasonal color and not specifically a permanent color. So if you want to increase your chances of actually being able to get a bag, it is better to tell your sales associate colors that are permanent and colors that are upcoming for the season or currently in season. So you kind of have to get a feel of where you're at with your sales associate. Are they just asking you to perhaps for a future offer 6 months down the track, or are they asking you because there's a chance that within 1 to 3 months you might be getting an offer? So that's when you have to kind of think of when's the season going to start with the new colors. So when I'm filming this video, we are now in March and the spring summer colors are now starting to appear in boutiques. And they're starting to appear on the website. However, the fall winter colors are still also appearing as well. So there is that overlap happening at the moment. So let's say hypothetically, if my sales associate asks me, what am I looking for? And I feel as though there's a chance I might get something within 3 months, I would actually give them the fall winter colors, just in case any of the fall winter colors that I like. But most definitely their spring summer colors that are upcoming, because those are the ones that are going to just be streaming into the boutiques, are going to be coming in, as well as permanent colors. Okay, so you could also specify permanent colors. We don't want to overwhelm our sales associate by giving them, it is good to give them actually specifics if you can, but if you're working with a sort of sales associate that likes you to tell them verbally, then you're probably only going to be able to say around about 4 colors before they just, you know, daydream and don't know any, like they're not taking in any more information. If you're if you have a relationship with your sales associate which is via email, then you could pretty much go ahead and say 10 colors and they can just refer back to that email anyway because it's written there. But if it's a verbal relationship, I would just say about 4 colors, and that's when you might want to consider adding in a permanent color and then adding in maybe 1 from the season that you're currently in, and then the remaining 2 from the season that's upcoming. So that's just to kind of give you a bit of a tip that will help you to go in your favor with perhaps getting a bag. And if you don't apply this, if you just, like I said, go and just say a couple colors that you like out of Hermes and you don't think about the fact whether or not they're permanent or in season, or the kind of colors that do pop up quite regularly, you're just decreasing your chances. So you could be waiting forever to try and get your bag because the sales associate will think in their head, oh, I don't know if I can really offer them that, like I don't know if I can offer them something else because I haven't specified even a color that's similar to it. Sometimes it's actually better to just generalize and just say, oh, I want a blue, I want a neutral, I want a black, I want a pink. Sometimes it's better to generalize. It does work still in that way as well, but the only pitfall with that is that the color spectrum with Hermes is so wide. There are so many colors that they do that are pinks, that are blues, not really black, but you know, that are red. So if you say red, there are so many red colors. So you're still making it a little bit more difficult for your sales associate. It is better to be specific if you can. It does help them because then that also allows them to know that you know your stuff, you know about the colors, so you've already done your thinking, you're quite serious about your purchase, you're not just trying to buy a bag just so you can get an offer, you've really thought about it. So it does come across in a good way as well when you can specify your color, but it does work when you generalize, okay? It does work. But I have heard of people that say, oh, I want a pink, and then the sales associate turns around and offers them rose sakura, and they're like, oh no, it's too light for me. Like, that's why it is better, in my opinion, to know what is the current seasonal colors, what are the permanent colors. And if you're wanting a pink, is there any seasonal colors upcoming that are in pink? Or is there currently colors that are in pink in the season that you're currently in at the time that you're asking? So it is better to kind of think of it in that way if you can. Now, all the information that I have sort of given you has been collated from various sources. I use the Purse forum, I use Instagram for these kinds of informations. So everything that I've sort of collated is not because I've gone to my sales associate and asked her what are the upcoming seasonal colors. I haven't asked her. I don't have that kind of relationship, unfortunately. I get along with my sales associate, but I'm not a regular enough customer to kind of go in and be like, oh, what are the seasonal colors that are upcoming, and sit down and find them all out. I'm just, unfortunately, don't have that kind of relationship. As much as I'd like to, it would require me to be visiting the boutique regularly, and I don't. So if you are the sort of person that does visit regularly, if you're going like, you know, every couple of weeks or something, it doesn't hurt to just ask what are the seasonal colors that are upcoming. Just know what season you're about to go into, at least have a gist of it. We all kind of know when they start to introduce their fall, winter and spring, summer collections. You see it like on the runways, and you get a gauge of it. So try to ask at an appropriate time, of course. But yeah, if you can do that with your sales associate, then that's great, because it also helps to build rapport too, and it shows that you're very serious about the brand. But for me, I do collate all my information, and that's how I find this stuff out. Ongoing, if you want me to sort of film these videos that tell you what are the seasonal colors, you know, and give you some tips and tricks about like that sort of thing. I mean, I don't want to just sit down and go, oh, these are the seasonal colors that are about to come into store, and then that be it. I'd like for there to be some sort of also advantage to it as well. But let me know if you want me to sort of film those videos where I'm telling you what are the seasonal colors that are about to hit the store, so that way it can help you guys to collate your wish list with your sales associate, and you will look very informed knowing which colors are upcoming, and you'll know which ones are permanent. But yeah, okay, I think that's about everything that I have to say. If you did like this video and you found it informative, which I hope that you did, then give it a thumbs up, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.